Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey now everybody, welcome to episode 385 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson. Send you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
On tonight's episode, we'll be talking about Adam Driver's latest science fiction film, 65, as well as the Cocaine Bear, the infamous Cocaine Bear, and the horror film that was getting a lot of attention in October called Terrifier 2. You may have heard of that. We'll discuss that in detail, along with Knock at the Cabin Door, the latest from M. Night. Trailers as well. As a big trailer dropped today, we'll be talking about The Flash, the new trailer for that, featuring a ton of Michael Keaton as Batman. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. Also going to be talking about Fubar, Arnold Schwarzenegger's glorious return, even though it's a television series on Netflix. Yeah, I can't wait to get your thoughts on that because I know you're a big Schwarzenegger guy and I'm a big fan as well. Lots of stuff to get into tonight. If you haven't done so yet, please rate, review, like, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening to this on. We want to thank you guys, but please rate the show, pass it along, share it, whatever you can do to help out. We really appreciate it. But first, as always, let's do a little trivia. Trevor, you got it queued up over there?
Let's do some trivia. We got, what is the name of the 1996 documentary with which Al Pacino made his directorial debut? Shakespeare in the Park. Yes, it is. But you didn't even let me do it.
Sorry.
That was a yes. So now we have to do
let's do another one. Yeah.
That was too easy, apparently. Sidney Dean and Billy Hoyle are basketball hustlers in White Men Can't Jump. Billy has a girlfriend, Gloria, and Sidney is married. What is the name of Sidney's wife? Ooh, that's a good one. Wanda, Tyra, Chalice, or Rhonda? Is that a trick? I want to say Wanda for some reason, but now I want to say Rhonda.
I want to say Tyra.
You want to say Tyra?
I think it's Tyra.
They're also familiar, except for Chalice.
Yeah.
That one I know it's not. So it's probably that
I'm going to go
one.
with Tyra.
You think Tyra? That's pretty close. Let's see. No. It was Rhonda. Thought they tried to fuck me up with Wanda and Rhonda.
That's a super specific trivia
I know,
question.
that's a rough one, right? Let's
do another one. I need to get a redemption shot.
Well, you had one. You nailed the first one without even I didn't even have to read the things.
I don't know. I thought I was going to slide through this. I thought Billy Hoyle. I know where that name comes from. That's White Men Can't Jump. I thought what movie was it going to be from, not what was the fucking
what was the
co-star wife's name.
All right. The Berlin International Film Festival was first established in 1951. What is the name of the top honor bestowed upon a film at this festival? Golden Bear, Golden Lion, Golden Goose, or Golden Eagle?
The Golden Bear.
That's what I would think. Yes.
I thought it was the Golden Tiger, to be honest with you. That's what I was thinking in my head.
No. I think Bear sounded the most correct. Ben Gazzara plays an American pimp in Singapore in this flick. Trick Baby, Dollars and Cents, Saint Jack, or The Mac? Huh? I have no idea.
It's one of the first two. I can't. Give me the name again.
You think it's Trick Baby or Dollars and Cents?
I want to say it's Dollars and Cents.
I know.
I think it's a Cassavetes film.
I feel like that is. I was going to say that too after I heard that second time. Let's see. No.
Wow.
It was The Killing. Or not The Killing. Excuse me. Saint Jack. I'm reading a different answer for a different question. Saint Jack.
Fuck.
Well, now I don't know. What is Saint Jack?
You have to look Saint Jack up.
I know. I'm about to.
I might be interested in watching Saint Jack based on that plot description you gave me there.
Let's see what this is. How old of a movie is this?
Probably like early 70s, I'd say.
79. Peter Bogdanovich. All right, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Jack Flowers, an American hustler in the early 1970s Singapore, dreams of building a fortune by running a brothel and returning to the States to live a life of luxury. Okay.
Bogdanovich was going through a real odd phase during this time.
It's got George Lazenby in it. Does that mean anything? No.
Be a question is what it means, basically. What was one of the only films starring George Lazenby? That and The Man from Hong Kong. All right, well, we did okay. We split the difference. We went 2 for 4 on this. Not a bad showing. I'll take that.
They're difficult, They're oddly specific, some of them.
Those were difficult tonight. I'm fairly good at trivia of any film post late 70s to, current time. But before that, it's real
even
wonky.
into the golden era stuff, I don't necessarily know.
I know the first one, movie to win the Oscar, the Sound for Sound movie to win the Oscar, and that kind of stuff.
The 40s to the 60s even is. I don't watch a lot of those movies. I watch some of those movies. I don't watch a lot of those movies.
I'm trying to watch more 70s movies lately, just because they're just real movies at this point. I hate to say that, but it's about character and in-camera tricks and things like that. So I'm just kind of appreciating the ingenuity of 70s films right now. All right, let's talk about our movies on tonight's show because we have a whole bunch of them to talk about. The first is, you just got out of the theater tonight, fresh out of a screening of 65, Adam Driver's film that was about dinosaur hunting. What's going on with this movie? I kind of wanted to see it.
This movie takes place someplace which I'm not going to tell you because I guess it's supposed to be a secret. I don't know. It's a reveal at the beginning of the movie. It's not surprising, I guess. There's dinosaurs in it. So who had dinosaurs? It's called 65. Yeah. What do you think that's a reference to?
65 million years ago?
Actually, I think it's a reference to it's 65 million times better than the last Jurassic World because it fucking is. Yeah, the last Jurassic World's a joke though, so let's be honest about that. This is a B movie. It does things with the storyline that I don't like. That it's just a modern thing. There's this whole setup for this character that I feel is just completely unnecessary. We should have just gotten right into the action from the get-go, but we didn't. And they tried to make it psychological in some way, they tried to add substance to it, and they didn't need it. When this movie is at its best, it's just visceral survival, dinosaurs trying to get people, and those kind of emotions running high. And that stuff is good in this. I really liked it. There was a jump scare that totally got me. So yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of this movie when it wasn't trying to tell me, the life story of this guy who I didn't care.
It sounds like it's almost a mixture of the old movies that we grew up like Deep Star 6,
this
Leviathan,
feels like a 90s
like that.
movie. It feels like a 90s movie, yeah. And a 90s B movie.
Well,
so
I bet you to even get
enjoyed
Adam Driver. I bet you part of Adam Driver's contract was to have some sort of character development and further, you know what I mean, to really work on his character. So that's probably the stuff you didn't like.
So, they're both of the actors are good in this. But I'll tell you one thing. This is a movie that feels stupid. And it feels like the setups are a bit on point. You're like, oh, I see where this is going. And in fact, you can call the majority of the movie, but it will suddenly decide, setting you up for this is just a classic bullshit story. And then we'll make a completely not out of left field, but it will just make a different decision. It shows you the path that you're on. You're like, okay, I know where I'm going. And then somehow you arrive at a different destination, something like that. It just makes a choice storytelling wise. You're just like, oh, interesting. Why aren't we doing this more often? Why are we building up so much to a point where we start making interesting choices? It almost feels like, I don't know, perhaps it's trying to be too sly, it's trying to set you up to lull you into thinking, what's going to happen. And then it does something else.
It looked to me like this was going to be something like not Lockup. What was the Lockout, that Guy Pearce movie from a couple of years ago? Kind of a low-key sci-fi actioner.
That was a great movie.
A programmer. That was a fun little movie, even that's basically a outer space ripoff of Escape from New York. But this looked like it had the potential to either be something as good as Annihilation, or as interesting as that, kind of as thought-provoking as that, or as pathetic as Monster Hunter.
So.
Well, what about Monster Hunter?
Thank God. Again, the Monster Hunter's dog shit. If you like those movies, that's fine. I understand why you like them. I probably like them for why people, or I probably don't like them for why people do like them. Actually, I know that's true. So these are things that either pique your interest or don't, I guess, in some way. And for a movie like this, or like any of those, I don't know, there's a point where I expect a certain type of movie. I want a certain type of narrative, certain thought process. And in a movie like this, with just survival, dinosaurs, I want to be a part of this crew. Actually, in reality, I want to see myself in this main character going through this stuff, looking around, I'm looking for dinosaurs in the back. I'm looking for shit that's going to get me. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm totally into this movie, into this moment. That's exactly what I want from something like this. I don't want to stop and talk about some fictional characters elsewhere, some shit that happened to them. I don't care. There's fucking dinosaurs that are trying to eat you.
It sounds like it's the template of Aliens with the space commandos or the Space Marines fighting the aliens and having to look at the corners of the frames.
And I would say this is true. You're right. I actually thought about this when I was watching this. It was like modern movies ruin things by trying to build up a storyline, a lore behind these characters. It just isn't necessary. And we didn't get that in the olden days. We just got fucking characters. And in the moment, whatever they did, how they reacted, what they said, that's what the character was. That's how you built them up. And this movie, it tries to set them up beforehand, gives them something to live or die for, right? For whatever reason. You don't need that.
So are you recommending it to me, or are you telling me not to watch this piece of shit?
Well, I would recommend it, but just be aware that there's story elements in here that are a little boring and underwhelming. But when it gets into the action, I loved the movie when it did that. And so I would say by the end of the movie, even though it's obvious, and you know that there's, as the movie begins winding down, you're like, oh wait, there's one more showdown, clearly. And I liked it. It didn't understay its welcome. It didn't overstay its welcome as far as a big, third act finale, straight just a lot of action. I mean, the dude shoots the shit out of a fucking T-Rex. Like, let's be honest, who doesn't want to do that, right? Who's it's kind of badass. I don't know. It was awesome. Yeah. I love Jurassic Park. I love dinosaurs. This is a big movie with dinosaurs, big budget as far as special effects and stuff goes. So for me, it's a good watch. I enjoyed it.
A mild recommendation, you'd say? That's fair?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. I can't.
I don't know. It sounds like an enthusiastic recommendation.
It's not a perfect movie. And so when I talk about the parts I hate the fucking movie. And when I talk about the parts that I love the fucking movie. It's one of those. I will probably wind up owning this on 4K. Because I would watch this again, even if I had to skip over the boring parts. I would watch the dinosaur stuff again. I thought it was really well directed for that type of stuff. It's suspense building. There's a lot of the camera work's really great. There's a lot of use of darkness and what's coming up at him and stuff. And like I say, there's some pretty good jump scares in this that I didn't expect, because the movie continues to make you think you know what's going to happen, and then kind of does something a little different than what you would think. Watch the movie. I recommend it. I guess I'll just say I recommend it.
You flat out said it. I'm glad.
And then you tell me your thoughts on it.
Absolutely will. Because if you're going to buy this, I'm sure it's going to be on our shared video account. So I will definitely watch this at some point. Because I did want to see this, but it kind of came and went a little bit faster than I would have expected. But it did solid business for what it is, I should say, or solid, modest.
I can tell why. It's clearly a B movie.
Nothing wrong with that, though.
Clearly a B movie. Yeah, again, nothing wrong with that, but that's what it is.
All right, let's talk about our next film, which is essentially another B movie, and that is the surprise hit of a couple months ago, Cocaine Bear, which is currently streaming on the Peacock service if you're out there and interested in watching this. I didn't really know what to expect from this because I had an idea of the actual story. This movie is nothing really about the actual story. This is a Funny or Die sketch that is expanded to 90 minutes. I got to be honest, I really found myself enjoying this movie, much to my surprise, because I didn't think that this had much to offer for me. And there's a low bar that's been set by Snakes on a Plane and Sharknado, this is clearly a cut above. And I thought that this was the funniest comedy I've seen in a long time. I actually appreciated the playful tone and the purposely bad CGI and the film's brief running time. It had a good soundtrack, and it reminded me of an old Larry Cohen flick, Basket Case or Q or something like that. And I just didn't expect this much humor, and the way that the narrative was structured with the 4 different groups that were moving towards this gazebo or this bear and trying to find these people, and some of the characters, they all didn't work for me, but Jesse Tyler Ferguson's character really worked for me. I really liked Bob, the detective who had that love-hate relationship with his dog, the one punk who was with Ice Cube's son in his storyline. I just thought it was well cast. I thought it was well made for what it is, and I don't know, as a throwaway little movie, the best compliment I can pay for this, like you paid for 65, is that I would watch this again.
Look, the movie was fine. I'm not going to pull this movie down, but I don't have a reason to watch this again. I didn't think it was that funny, and the directing is horrendous in this. I mean, talking about just missed opportunity as far as directing goes, but it's an interesting enough movie. But I don't think this is a fake cultural phenomenon. This will not last or stand the test of time. I just don't see it doing that. Much like the Tiger King has already come and gone. And this is less than that. I think it missed the mark. I wish that Elizabeth Banks had made this because she actually gave a shit about it, not that she had an axe to grind, and it probably would have been better. Her direction for the Charlie's Angels movie is 5 times better than the direction in this, and I don't like that movie, and I like this movie, so I just feel like that's a problem in general with perhaps her going forward. I don't know. I don't want more lackluster shit that people just kind of like because it's okay and it's different. It's a little weird. Like this could have gone completely different had this script not been very interesting or the actors not been very engaging.
Hey, you got to give her credit as a director. She cast this movie with actors that pulled off. Each role is done very well for what it is. It's nice to see Kerry Russell back in something. Like I said, Jesse Tyler Ferguson is good.
There's more to directing though than just directing actors, you know. And I've never particularly liked directors that just do that. Actors can damn near direct themselves at that point. Like you need to be directing camera, the whole thing is under your purview, and you need to be doing all that. And it feels like she just wasn't all present here in this one.
Well, the script, I think that is such a cut above what I was expecting from the humorous side. I really liked these scenes here. I was a little disappointed that Ray Liotta basically has an extended cameo. I was hoping to see a little bit more of him, especially in his last role.
Well, that was the whole movie, though. Most everyone, like you say, there's 4 stories in this. There's several stories, so the movie kind of feels like
it's episodic.
It's episodic. I mean, it doesn't have a plot. The movie has no plot. Let's be honest, which is fine because when you think about what it's based on. I don't know, it's probably about as good as you're going to get, right?
That's what I said. I was amazed it held its energy for as long as it did.
What's like the funniest moment in the movie?
Well, it's just lines and delivery of lines.
Okay.
I thought the standoff with the cop on top of the gazebo and the 3 criminals at the bottom was humorous. A lot of the delivery of the lines, especially
so it
when...
wasn't necessarily like moments or scenes as much as it was just particular moments.
Yes, and a lot of that had to do with performance in the delivery of such moments. I thought the kid that played Han Solo really did a good job here. I can't think of the actor's name, but you know who I'm talking about. I thought he did good. The kids who played the punk, he's fantastic. It's one note, obviously, and it plays that note over and over and over, but it didn't get old to me like I thought it would. I think the first act is very well done, especially with that odd moment with the kids stumbling upon the coke and what they're going to do there and how far is this movie willing to push things. And let's be honest, there's a couple of moments here that made me shock laugh when the lady accidentally shoots the guy in the head trying to shoot the bear at the door. I thought that, and there's some moments of bloodletting that are a little bit more gory than I thought we were going to get here. Overall, the movie just was just a surprise to me, and sometimes I can appreciate what they were going for, and I think that they nailed exactly what they were going for. As opposed to her uninspired direction, it could have been made by anybody. I'll say that. It didn't feel like it was made by man,
there's no
woman,
fingerprints on this,
auteur or not. Yeah, it's there.
It's just shot. I mean, but that's my complaint about this. There's a part where Jackson Jr. there is the bear's coming up. The part where the standoff at the gazebo. Mm-hmm. And there's the wall separating him and the bear. It is shot so fucking poorly, and would be a suspenseful moment that would be easy to shoot. And she shoots it straight down the wall. It's fucking weird. It's like it's almost hard to like imagine or see the space of like what's happening. It's just there's so much of that in the whole movie. It's just like God.
It made me laugh more times than I would expect for this movie to do, especially, like I said, after seeing all those Sharknado movies and Snakes on a Plane and all these other internet phenomenon movies.
Yeah, and those were a little bit more phenomenon, but I mean, those have come and gone. We don't have comedy phenomenons, and these types of things don't do this. You know what does is like your Austin Powers, your Talladega Nights. These are movies with some amount of staying power, but these weird like comedies like this just don't.
I'm surprised this movie hit the zeitgeist like it did, even if it was just for a blip on the screen. It did score.
I'm not, because there's nothing, like you say, it is a weird movie, right? Where it goes where you don't think something will go, at least. Yeah, it's not like I didn't like the movie. I watched it. I was like, this is fine for a watch. This is perfectly, I understand why people watch this, but I just don't think this isn't something in 5 years, 10 years I'm going to give a shit about.
I think I would rewatch it just to see if maybe it hit me on the right moment on a nice day, and it happened to tickle me. But I did enjoy it for my first time, so I would recommend The Cocaine Bear. It sounds like you enjoyed it, but you're not necessarily recommending it, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if for anyone that really did like it, you can go watch Cocaine Cougar. It's the new Dustin Ferguson movie. You're gonna love it, I'm sure.
All right, well, speaking of scary movies, we are going to talk now about Terrifier 2. If you don't know, now you know. Famous words from Biggie Smalls. Had to throw that in there. But Terrifier 2 was making quite a stir as this little independent film a horror movie that was independently financed, given a theatrical distribution on a few screens, and was building week to week, and eventually grossed over $10 million on the theatrical distribution model, and is now on Amazon Prime for you to watch if you'd like. It's a 2.5-hour horror epic. Would you say that's kind of fair to say? I mean, it's a massive
The running
film.
time is unfortunate. I'll say that about it. It's not quite 2.5 hours, but it is over 2 hours, and it's a bit lengthy for that.
It's a sizable movie, and I got to be honest, I'm not coming into this totally, I'm not the horror fan that
Did you see the first one?
I did. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
I saw the first one years ago, so I do have some familiarity with this concept and this character. So this, to me, in a sense, almost reminded me, and this is going to be a stretch, but of something like Terminator 2, in that it really expanded and is a much bigger movie with much bigger ambitions than the really low-budget and nitty first one. Even the Guyver 2 would be another kind of a step up in this kind of world. But regardless, I liked this movie more than I thought I would. And it's not the puke fest that everybody said it would. I think that the early word on this, that it was so gruesome and you couldn't stomach it, was just to build hype and publicity and get people's attention. And I actually think that this movie has a lot in common, and maybe it's because I've watched these recently, but I've had a lot in common with Nightmare on Elm Street series. I got a lot of that vibe in these movies, and I think that this is actually, to me, more enjoyable than...
Why?
You didn't feel that at all?
Why do you think that? I guess, there is a dream thing, a portion to this. He is a correct, villain in my mind, as far as like horror villains would go. I'm just wondering if there was something specific.
Yeah, because he's going after the younger children. The adults necessarily can't see what's going on. They're trying to explain themselves. None of the adults. They're all the adults are the non-believers. The other teenagers and the kids at school are kind of sensing things, but it's happening to a very few. It's happening. He's getting revenge. Maybe it's because I've watched a couple Freddy movies recently that I saw some similarities.
No, you're selling this movie to me all over again.
And I think that's why I was enjoying it, because I thought, okay, I see where the influence is coming from, and the soundtrack is very 80s, and the girl, kind of has this special talent, and that's usually, and I watched a Freddy movie recently where the girl's paper macheing the house.
She's the chosen one.
Exactly. And he is, I have to say, Art the Clown is the most memorable screen horror icon since Ghostface, maybe, the Scream killer.
I agree. Yes, he's a proper villain as far as a horror movie sense goes. I have not seen a convincing villain like this, and so this is something this is a true horror franchise that's going to live on, I think, for a little bit, just like the old ones. Jason, Freddy, you name them, Michael Myers, Cenobites,
And the director, Damien Leone, he's very, very talented. You can see that here. He doesn't have a whole lot at his disposal, but he has some access to really well done special effects.
They have millions of dollars.
Absolutely. But at the same time, they have a studio behind it, and I think that gave it the freedom to really be this ambitious, audacious horror sequel that nobody was asking for, but might be the best horror film I've seen in quite some time in terms of pure horror and not supernatural or anything like that. Slasher, I should say. Thank you. I recommend it.
I recommend it as well. I loved the horror aspects of it, as you say. The building was quite nice. I thought there's a lot of suspenseful moments in it when she first sees him in the shop, the Halloween shop, for instance. I thought that was pretty suspenseful.
That's the best
and kind of
sequence
scary
to me,
I was like,
in the entire movie.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
that was pretty freaky as shit. And so there's a lot of that, I think, in the movie that builds up to it before you get to the gross out horror stuff. And I think Art the Clown is actually kind of funny, which is the other thing of this, where things get so grotesque and stuff in this movie, and he's still being a clown. He's like, ooh, and it's almost, it's just so surreal. It's kind of funny.
It's Freddy Krueger-like.
The actor's great in it. Yeah, in that sense, it is as well. I don't know. I felt like the dream stuff at the end is just too weird, and I didn't understand it, actually. I don't get it at all.
They lose the plot here. The narrative goes off the rails here.
I just don't even think it makes sense. I don't even know, like, physically, or I don't even understand really what happened in that sequence. Like, the brothers they're saved at one point, and then they're not saved, and then she's like, in Houdini's underwater cage thing, and they're like, the brothers being eaten by Art the Clown. It's fucking weird, right? I mean, it's weird. And then she comes back with the sword and everything. I had wished that with the lore that they had created with this, with the father going crazy, but knowing about Art the Clown and bestowing upon her special powers, including the sword, the weapon in which that would kill Art the Clown, this essentially undefeatable demon, right, that no one can kill. I wish that they had explained that a little bit more and had gone further with that, because they kind of just, at the end of the movie, they just kind of shrug, throw up their hands, and go, we don't fucking know. Is that open-ended so they can do whatever they want in the third one?
Or was that sequences that they had to cut out to even get it down to 2:20, 2:25, which is its current running time?
Maybe. And I hope that we get more of the little pale girl in the third one, because she is creepy as shit.
Absolutely. And the actor who plays Art the Clown, I mean, this is a silent film performance that is really well done.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not easy to do. He is very, very good, very expressive. The sequence that you talked about in the Halloween costume shop, I think, is the best sequence in the entire movie. The way that he drops the purse on the counter, and when the store's clerk tells him, you got to put that in your
she's
mouth.
Got to walk past him to get out of that little room when she first sees him. They're unsure, or she's unsure anyways, if that's even him or if it's someone fucking around as him.
It works on a lot of levels.
Pretty good, yeah.
And the movie is not for all taste. You must say that. So you know what you're getting if you're going to watch a movie called Terrifier 2.
So.
And this is top notch of what this kind of movie is. And I'm not surprised it got the level of success it did. I do think that if they do another one, tighten up the story a little bit.
I think they will. Yeah, make the lore make more sense, right? Make Art the Clown, solidify that, exactly what he is, who he is, how he came to be, how you defeat him. Do all that stuff. Solidify that so that I know the rules to this game, because I still don't know the rules. Like I say, the end of the movie almost makes no sense. I don't really know what they accomplished, what she did, what did she find out, what did she overcome, what did she figure out she had to do in order to defeat him. I don't know the rules. I don't know how to. What do you do? Like, you always know the rules for any of the bad guys, even if it's. Even if it's like Michael Myers, who basically there kind of is no rules, but you can just outmuscle them, right?
Well, this guy has the strength of Michael Myers and the humor of Freddy Krueger.
Seemingly, but I mean, sometimes not. When he gets killed at the end of this movie, he doesn't seem to have any strength at all. But then again, when he does that, and then of course the movie doesn't just end there. He's not just dead. People don't know, but. There's that little wink, wink, nod, nod, insane scene at the end of the fucking movie. Can he even be killed? Did he let her kill him? That's my question there.
Well, do you recommend this movie? Would you watch it again?
Yes, I would watch both Terrifier movies again. I would definitely watch a third one. And I don't own any of them, but I would love to own like a box set of these at some point. I think they should keep making more of these. If they're going to be this good and this interesting, I'm down for another horror icon that I can add to my list of, horror movies that with one horror bad guy that you like to watch.
It reminded me of what we used to call a Friday night sleepover movie, something you get from the video store and try to, you'd watch with your friends. And this would have had high repeatability if this had been a VHS release in, say, 1988.
There were teenage girls that used to come into the Blockbuster I worked at all the time, and they would do horror nights, and they would constantly looking for new horror movies and stuff. And I would tell them, watch these Terrifier movies. I mean, obviously, I didn't tell them that because they didn't exist back then, but I'm sure they would have been insane with these. Like, that was exactly what would have been what I would have, or was watching, really, as a teenager. These were, back in our day, you used to get the VHS tapes that would be passed around with just a bunch of shit on them.
I could imagine a friend having this taped off of Showtime, let's say, with some bad tracking on it, I easily could have seen, and loving every frame of this. And whoever is doing the special effects here, these bloodletting effects and throats being slit and all sorts of stuff, it's the best work of this kind since Tom Savini's work. It really is.
I agree. This is like these are people who love what they do, and I think it's fun. It's just fun. Like, it's not ultra realistic, but it is way past like any level of natural gore, which to me is fun. I don't know. It's fun to see. I don't know about you, but when you watch special effects like this, especially practical stuff, isn't it kind of interesting to see what someone came up with, what they were able to do with their hands?
It feels lived in this world, and it feels lovingly crafted, doesn't it? That's the difference between something like this and a studio-driven horror film like, let's say, Scream 6.
Yes, which is all like the Scream movies. You know, God bless them, but they're all slick and those are always, and I still think more about the actors and those characters, not even about Ghostface, but they're about the other characters, you know, and obviously about the big reveal of who's killing people. So those are more straight slasher type things. But almost every other horror thing has kind of melded in or changed into would be more visceral horror, I guess. Like even those last Halloween movies were more violent than probably a Scream movie.
The gore in this that everybody was complaining about, I think, was a lot of PR.
Yeah, this is no worse than the first one, which everyone was saying, oh, this is way worse than the first one. Have you seen the first one? I mean, no, this was on par with. They had some more money for sure, so there's more of it. There's probably more of it in general on the screen, but there's no more worse than what they did in the first one in general.
And no worse than some sequences of Cocaine Bear.
And that's true too. As far as the bear goes, yeah, mauling and people being shot, heads exploding.
Yes, exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on and talk about M. Night Shyamalan's. I mean, the guy's been making movies for like 25 years. I still can't say his fucking last name. You know him as M. Night. I'll call him M. Night from now on. He returned with Knock at the Cabin Door, starring Dave Bautista, based on a book this time. Didn't write this originally, but has adapted this. And this, to me, is another disappointing entry in the long, disappointing career of M. Night.
I mean, whew.
This movie plays well for about 25 minutes, and then when it shows its hand early, which is the nice thing because it doesn't wait till the entire end to show its hand.
Does it, though, show its hand early? Isn't this a movie? My main gripe about this movie is this is a movie that says, okay, this is what's happening. Oh, no, wait. But is it what's happening? Oh, no, this is what's happening. Oh, no, but is it? Is it? Are you sure? No, because it is. But no, but is it? It just constantly, over and over and over again, it just keeps doing that. It's so fucking annoying.
Don't you think, though, it only gets away with doing that because of our previous knowledge of how M. Night's movies work and that they are bait and switches and clusterfucks?
No, it gets away with it because it does it explicitly. And then it explains to you how shitty of a job it did at showing you that that this is what you're watching. Then the characters, it's easy enough for them to go, oh, well, this is all bullshit. And you go, well, yeah, it could be, for all I know, because they just explained what happened, and it could be bullshit. And they're like, well, a little bit more happens. And like, well, that could also be bullshit because of the way it was shown to you. And you're like, well, yeah, I'm watching the movie, and you're right, that could all be bullshit. So who crafts a movie like this? Who crafts a movie that could be totally bullshit and then has the movie be like, you know what? I'm going to call myself on my own bullshit I just showed you. Is it real or not? I don't know. You don't know? Because I'm the movie and I don't fucking know. Like, what?
Well, it's odd here that it's not an original work because it's so suited to M. Night sensibilities in a narrative sense because of that trickery and all that kind of shit. So 100%. I was kind of surprised about that. And it's a small movie with an intriguing concept, but in typical M. Night fashion, it's literally all sizzle and no steak here. And then when you find out the reveals of it, is it all just not? Is it for naught? I mean, it's all for naught is how I should say that. I thought this was one of the biggest time wasters, even on the level of Old, which I really disliked. I put this up there. It does have a decent performance by Dave Bautista, who's very creepy in his subdued delivery, but the true scene stealer is that kid from Harry Potter, the redheaded guy. I mean, I think he is fantastic. I know, but I think he's the entire reason to watch the movie. I would have watched him in this movie solely.
I didn't think he was that. Well, I know I get what you're saying, but he was just so in it for so less. He was just kind of there. I don't know. Batista, I agree, had that calming, like room filling effect, but I don't ultimately don't know what it got his character or anybody else.
And why the revelation that they knew his character from the past and he'd had a run-in with one of the guys.
Matter? I don't
why
know,
did that
because
matter at all?
everything matters. Yeah, I was just like, what? Everything happens for a reason? I guess, but isn't this... what's the reason all these things are happening? Guys, this is not, like... It's a very inconsistent narrative, and, like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I don't understand. I also don't get... I just don't get the religious aspect of this either. How does this...
The four horsemen of the apocalypse and all that kind of stuff that they were going for.
Yeah, so clearly there's a Christian backdrop to this. And it's like, if this is all happening and God's going to do this, why doesn't God just talk to you? There's so many questions I would have, like, because to demand a sacrifice, I don't know, someone must ask for that. Is it really going to be Dave Bautista, these guys that just show up like randomly? Like, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
Which you could say, like, for the entire movie.
Yes, because the whole existence of the movie is just to do that. It's just to yank your chain the whole time. That's the whole thing. So it's crafted to be this way. That's why I just don't like it. It's just a terrible idea. You want to start the movie like this and then do a reveal and then, okay, we'll all get together and we'll go down this path together, right? But don't fucking send me on wild goose chases for the whole damn time. I have no interest, and especially when the characters aren't even that interesting.
I agree. I was bored with this movie after the first act. 35 minutes into this, I thought, I don't give a shit where this goes, and then it continually tried to surprise me, and then go, no, that's not what we're going to do. But is it what we're going to do? Like, it's like you said, it became a very frustrating exercise in patience building. And personally, I think I'm tapping out on M. Night movies from here on in. I think I've seen enough of them.
Really?
I think I've seen the best of his career. Huh? I think I've seen the best of his work, and I don't think it's going to be coming in the later part of his career.
I'm watching Jordan Peele movies and M. Night Shyamalan movies till the end of time. I might as well just give in. I'm watching no matter how bad they get.
I'm glad you brought that up because, sometimes you need a movie to show you how good something else is, and Nope becomes so much better after watching this movie. Because it's the same idea of that, the chain puller. They're both chain pullers.
I disagree. I think it's still not a very good movie.
It's better than this movie.
Oh, yes, but I don't... That's no award.
No, it's not. But I'm not surprised that this movie failed so quickly after a decent opening weekend, because the word on this was going to make it or break it, and it broke it real quick. And it's not surprising to see why. This is suited for a direct-to-DVD delivery system. There's no reason to see this on a big screen whatsoever. This is a very, very small movie. And this continues, in my opinion, that downward trajectory that M. Night has shown. And I'm looking at his filmography, and outside of Split, I can't see anything that I've truly enjoyed since the early 2000s. It's really kind of sad as I look over this, because I used to consider myself a fan.
I'm still a fan. I think he's got something. I thought he had something else. Did he not?
Glass was a big hit. Unbreakable, things like that.
Something else.
I think you liked The Visit. Did you like The Visit?
Yeah, The Visit was okay. And that one was okay. I thought there was something I saw recently that was pretty good. No, that was really... He has not made a lot in a while.
It was not Old, because Old was awful. Huh.
No, it wasn't Old. I just felt like there was something in between... in between the stuff. Oh, that is so interesting. After Earth. He directed After Earth. I forgot about that shit. That's basically like the dog shit version of 65. That's interesting. I forgot about that. I mean, talking about a movie that unnecessary backstory and shit. Get it over with.
A Last Airbender. He had a lot of attempts.
Yeah, that was bad too. But all after The Happening, obviously. Everything before that is really good. Like, I like Lady in the Water. I like The Village.
I like The Village as well.
Signs, Unbreakable, obviously Sixth Sense. That's a good streak of 5 movies right there.
Signs is an absolute classic as well. I think maybe even forgotten today.
Well, I like Lady in the Water. I think it's really good. That's underrated.
It is,
in my opinion. But But yeah, after that, man, I mean, Split's really good, but Glass is a step down, and Old is dog shit. Knock at the Cabin's dog shit. So, but he's got shit coming up. So,
Oh, great.
I'm not giving up. Not giving up yet.
Let me know how the next one goes, because I think I'm tapping out. All right, let's move on and talk about some trailers, because there was a lot of trailer activity this week. CinemaCon was going on. The National Theaters Owners Association was going on, and a lot of stars, a lot of studios presenting their goods. And we are going to talk about some of the big releases. One was just today, they dropped a new, it's kind of an announcement trailer. It's only about a minute and a half long, but it's the new Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom extended trailer, teaser, whatever you want to call it. And didn't give me much of an idea of what was going on here, except for looking very, very similar to Avatar and Black Panther 2 and these waterlogged epics that we're getting right now.
Yeah, what more can I say? Yes, exactly. I don't know. Do we need another Aquaman movie? I'm so confused about where DC is going right now. Isn't this shit all over? Like, it's weird to be able to say, like, you know, all these DC movies that you're seeing now are basically the end of this section. Like, we're resetting. We don't give a fuck about this shit. But here's these movies. You still want to watch them, right?
Yeah, they're on the books, so we got to put them out there. But and they're trying their best to push them.
I know. I'm sure this Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom movie is just not going to be worth much of a damn. The first one really isn't as well.
I like the first one
it's
quite a
what
bit.
It is.
I've really enjoyed the first one. I know that you had your issues with it, but I get a feeling that they knew that they had something wrong with this movie because they pushed it back an entire year. It was supposed to come out last Christmas, and
that's not good.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. And instead, the Flash will come out before it, which was supposed to come out after it. And there's all sorts of mismatch and clusterfuckery going on here, and it's just a mess.
I don't know. I'm just, hey, look, I will celebrate Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne for as many times as they will allow it to happen.
I will celebrate Michael Keaton as Batman for as many times as they will allow it to happen. So I understand.
Well, sure, but I'm saying, I mean, that too, but specifically, I think Ben Affleck kind of got fucked,
So did Henry Cavill, did he not, as Superman?
He did, but he at least had I mean, you're right, but I feel like he had a stronger run as Superman than poor Ben Affleck had as Batman. He's not been a bad Batman, but they have not given him a moment to shine.
They didn't give him a standalone film to shine at all.
That's what I'm saying. There's not a moment for him to shine. The most of the movies that he's been ancillary. He's just been extra there, and a lot of that stuff. Even when you look at like Batman vs Superman stuff, it's kind of like it's hokey. It's not very good. That's not his fault.
And to make matters even more difficult, I had no idea I would enjoy the Batman as much as I did in Pattinson as the new Bruce Wayne / Batman.
I thought he was fine. I think that movie's still dog shit, though.
I think it's fantastic and surprised the
shit
shit out of me.
It's a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie in which Batman just watches people from afar like he's a fucking stalker.
He's a watcher.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about The Flash because they released a new long trailer. We're already talking about Batman, the return of Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton in this, and it looks to be, the early word is that it's going to be one of the best superhero movies ever made. Just to mimic what you said a minute ago, if this is just the end of something that is not going any further, why am I to invest this time? To me, the drawing factor here is that Keaton is back, and this is going to serve as some sort of Batman 3, coming 30 years after he turned down Batman Forever. So that's cool, but do I care? And do I want to sit through a 2.5-hour movie to get a few scenes of Keaton as Batman and a stunt double doing all the work? I don't know. What are you thinking about this? I'm very torn on this.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm very torn on this.
Well, look, this looks fucking awesome. And I'm fucking super pissed that this is coming out last. Why did we wait so long for this? Why did we do all this other bullshit? This looks absolutely fantastic. I like the Flashpoint stuff. I liked it when they did it in the television show, even though, as with most things on CW, it wound up, doing itself under. But this looks great. I think the Michael Keaton stuff's interesting. If they had done this before the Spider-Man stuff, just come on. They could have been ahead of the curve. I don't know why they waited so long to do this, because this looks great. And this movie reminds me why I like DC more than Marvel. It just does. Like the feel of it, the look of it. It's like, oh, this is an adult world. This isn't like some hokey pokey, we're having fun superhero things. No, like we got to be superheroes. We got some emotions. We got some shit going on. They feel like people in this.
I really like that opening part, that monologue with Keaton is talking about losing his parents and that he couldn't save him, but this kid found a way to. That struck a chord right there, and that's when I realized how much I had invested into the Batman mythology and how much I was going to enjoy seeing him back on screen, even if it's just partially in someone else's movie.
I think this looks good. I think this will be a surprise hit. And I think people are really going to like this. And I don't know what the fuck that means for DC.
I hope it means Tim Burton comes back and does one more Michael Keaton Batman movie.
That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be fantastic because that could be a standalone movie, takes place in its own universe, doesn't need any of this other shit.
And it's a one-off. It's not going to be a part of a trilogy. It would be a standalone story.
Please, make that happen. I would love that.
I want Nicolas Cage as Scarecrow, and let's go.
I want Nicolas Cage's Scarecrow. All right.
We're already making concessions that are weakening the film.
That would be weird. But okay,
All right, well, let's go move on and talk about Fubar, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger's glorious return, albeit to the small screen. I'm looking forward to seeing. The news broke today that Schwarzenegger is going to team with Scott Waugh, who's directing Expendables 4, on an action film titled Breakout. That's going to be a theatrical release, and in the meantime, he's got this project that he filmed last year. It's finally getting its release here. It's an action comedy on Netflix, and he is the CIA dad who finds out his milquetoast daughter is now a CIA operative and is just as dangerous as he ever was. Looks very...
He's got to go save her.
It looks interesting.
But does he? Or
and
does she
fun.
have to save him? Or do they have to save each other?
Will they become stronger as a family unit because of it?
Yeah, look, this is just... Look, there's already a True Lies television series, and this is Schwarzenegger's True Lies television series,
with
right?
his daughter, yeah.
Yeah, it's just... It looks like fun. Also could be absolutely horrible for all I know. But it does. I think it looks like fun, and some of it made me chuckle a little bit here and there. I like the dynamics between him and the daughter. Even though she's awfully tiny to be, boxing full-grown men and destroying them, I'm sure, but whatever. He's also not 65, so
I noticed that as well when they said that about his age.
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
And his daughter is played by Monica Barbaro.
Barbaro?
Yeah, who was in Top Gun last summer. If that's where she looked familiar to you, he may have recognized her.
Yeah, she's great.
And she's good in this.
She looks good in this, yeah. In the trailer, at least. As I said, they have a good repertoire and stuff. And I like I do like Fortune Feimster, whatever her name is. Adam Pally's in this. It's got a decent cast and stuff as far as the CIA team and whatnot. So it could be good. I don't know. You have to worry about the comedy in something like this a little bit falling flat. Like if it's too family friendly, right? It's going to get old.
That's what I was thinking when I was watching this, is that it's interesting that both Schwarzenegger and Stallone now are working in the television medium, but it's a totally different type of project that Schwarzenegger is involved with, because Stallone's project is very dramatic. You've seen it. Yeah, it's an adult world, and it's got real consequences.
It's an adult movie.
This doesn't look like
this feels more family.
This feels more fantastical. It's a escapism.
Yes. But that would be a difference. I suppose a difference between Netflix and Paramount Plus, but really, like a Sheridan is just not going to make something that's not somehow grounded in reality, or in some, I don't know how you would say it, masculinity, I guess would be the word I would use. But this feels like it has that masculine side to it. Like Schwarzenegger's definitely I like the part at the end where she's like, do you think I'm a virgin? He's like, let me think what I think.
Yeah, I liked it too. And that's the kind of stuff that he plays well, and watching these guys play these roles. But the CBS show of True Lies that's on right now is unwatchable, and I'm sure it'll be canceled very shortly here.
I haven't even tried it. It looks terrible, yeah.
This looks leagues better, although I haven't seen it yet. Obviously, it comes out Memorial Day weekend, and I'm sure we'll be reporting back to you our reviews of it when it does premiere, because I know you'll be watching this on its release date weekend, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So Schwarzenegger? Yeah, I'm definitely watching this.
I'm just happy we're getting product from these guys, because there's no reason they shouldn't be on television or still working in some medium. They still have a lot of gifts to give in terms of performance and different things that haven't been exploited yet, particularly Schwarzenegger, who hasn't been used right in many, many years. Many years. I mean, the last movie he did that I thought was entertaining was The Last Stand.
That's not what his maid says.
Oh, wow.
I think she used him pretty right.
Well, she got a payout every month now for the rest of her life.
Well, you've seen it, right? She looks like she uses them right.
She looks like she uses steroids.
She uses them and puts them up wet. Let's say that,
All right, well, that's going to wrap up episode 385. My goodness, I'm forgetting episodes. So that's going to wrap up episode 385. We want to thank you guys for joining us on another exciting episode of the Movie Mavericks podcast. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I am Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to moviemavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!